Hi and welcome to today's episode on Tor options. For you guys who don't know me, my name is Tor and I like to write puts. So for today's topic, I want to talk about technical indicators and their use in my trading approach. So for me, I usually just use RSI and moving average. That's because RSI give me a quick look whether XYZ asset is oversold or overbought. So it's hence quite nice to see whether it is oversold or overbought and create the rules based on that. And I also like to use moving average to see whether if for instance 5 days moving average is above 10 days moving average, just an example to see whether it's a bullish movement in that underlying, and hence create my option trade based on that. So whether so if I want to write a put on for instance Apple, but I see that the moving average shows a bear sign, then I won't really write a put there because I don't feel confident that direction that the stocks has at the moment is bearish. No, it's bullish. I mean, sorry for that. But so that's sort of my use my use when it comes to technical indicators is to see which direction I should place my trade, whether it's bullish or bearish. I'm not really that fan of those more neutral strategies like iron condor, shorts straddle, strangle, etc. I like it to be more simple, whether it is it's one way or the other. Like it's either bullish or bearish. It's so simple for me, and I feel that's so far worked well. But I know that people like short strangles, iron condor, or short iron condors, etc. And yeah, it's probably nice to see whether or like to see if that stock goes within those price range. But then again, it's sort of hard to or it's very hard to adjust like iron condor. Same with spreads though, because iron condor is just two spreads, one bear call and one bull put spread. So it's hard to manage those, so maybe I will look into short strangles in the future if I would do a neutral strategy. But anyway, let's not move, but let's continue on the topic. So as I mentioned, I use technical indicators to sort of see whether I should place a bullish or bearish trade. But one thing that's important to mention is that I feel these indicators, they are sort of just what it is. It is just derivatives based on previous price history on that stock. So if something extraordinary happens in that underlying that you want to place a trade in, for instance, see that you have a bullish, everything looks bullish, but today that stock cuts its dividends, then it's going to be very bearish, right? Or opposite, like see that that stock has just bearish signals blinking all over, but somehow they increase the forward guidance, and in those scenarios those indicators doesn't work, like because I don't really see those things happening, and it is just what it is. It is indicators based on the previous price history. So use them, in my opinion, like proper for what they're used for. And I don't really pay attention to other indicators like MACD, boiling band, etc. Or boiling a band is nice somehow to see like the range, but it's not really the most important for me. And the rest technical indicators like MACD, etc. It's just derivatives on those more traditional technical indicators like moving average. So I feel that's sort of also an issue when it comes to like technical indicators. It's like people use them and I'm digging after the perfect indicator to like get a higher pop, I guess. But I'm trying to say, yeah, this works, this is the best indicator, it works in all circumstances, XYZ. It's not like that. They are just indicators based on previous historical prices, and they show a pattern. So use them according to what they are used for. That's sort of the preach I would have to say about when it comes to technical indicators. But anyhow, what indicator do you use and how do you go about it in your trading strategy? I know that many people use them quite differently, so it's always interesting to hear what fellow traders use technical indicators for. So I'm gonna start selling more calls to get more delta neutral in my portfolio. Like I I normally just sell puts or write spreads if it's a higher underlying, but I want to look more into selling calls because I want to get more delta neutral in my portfolio, and uh, the last months have been not volatile, but I feel my performance maybe would be more stable and not as I increase 1% one day and down 1% the next day. I would like it to get more stable because that's sort of also more within my price or not sort of more within my personality. I want it to be a little bit more stable, I guess. But then again, it's sort of hard for me to sell calls because I'm generally a bullish person. Like I'm a very optimistic person, so it sort of goes against my core personality. But I'm gonna start looking into selling more calls in the future. So far, or not so far, but I'm probably thinking of look at stocks that went skyrocketing high, but then fell hard. For instance, like Ticker X or United States Steel Corporation. Those maybe feel safe because they will have a higher call premium, maybe. So maybe look into that. So plans for the future and this podcast. So this is just a start, really. I want to grow this podcast. I like talking and preaching, etc. Tell my opinion about the different stuff like macroeconomic trades, technical indicators, as in this podcast. But I would like in the future to sort of create a web page for all this, and hence also try to post my trade automatically at that side. It would be cool to like see, or like so other people can see that I trade and I don't like have to show screenshots XYZ, and so they know that I'm real, which I am. But I don't know, it's just something more ahead of the future. But until then, I think I will just look into growing this podcast. But anyway, so this was it for today. It's just sort of a short podcast with a lot of ramble in it. So probably not the most interesting one, but if you have any question, hit me up on Twitter. My username is at TSHKCap, cap for Captain America, or post a comment on YouTube. My account there is Tor Options. So until next time, happy trading!